Welcome back. COSATU Western Cape has joined Cape Town residents on the picket line to protest the Metro's electricity tariff hikes. It comes after the city increased tariffs by 17.6%, higher than the energy regulator's 15.1%. For more on this, we are now joined by COSATU Western Cape Secretary Malvern De Bruyn. Mr. De Bruyn, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, the city has increased their tariffs by 2.5%, higher than that which was proposed by NERSA. And their reasoning is that NERSA's blanket approach to tariff hikes is really unreasonable. What's your take on that?
Yes, COSATU, we were really disappointed in the city decision to go above the NERSA recommendation or decision. Well, the city came with a lot of excuses since 2019, because in 2019 they did exactly the same. They did exactly the same the following year. And it's quite clear that this city don't care about the people of this province and city, because if you see the extra surcharge charge that they charge workers, because you still pay an additional percentage if you buy electricity. There's still too many charges that workers must pay. Then you find people within this province, elderly people that depends on grants, they can't afford to buy electricity. They have to make their choice to say, well, I buy electricity, then I don't have food in my house. If I buy food, I don't have electricity. So we don't agree with the city's stance that they will lose 500 million a year. They're using the people of Cape Town to boost their coffers at the expense of workers and the poorest of the poor.
Well, the city does say that a lot of that additional funding is used to maintaining infrastructure, and that they've also been able to avert at least 2 stages of load shedding, even though you are standing in the dark right now.
Yeah, they raised those particular points, but the problem is that you buy electricity and you expect what you pay for electricity, the units must be exactly the correct units. Now, you buy for a 10 rand and you get 1 or 2 units only. Previously, you receive up to 4 to 5 units. So, people are buying basically every second day up to 100 rand electricity that only lasts 1 or 2 days. Now, the city can use other measures to work on infrastructure, but they can't milk the poorest of the poor for them to maintain infrastructure, while they sit with a very good liquid bank balance. Why can't you tap into those monies? We spoke to the DA to the mayor on Tuesday, and it was quite clear that that mayor of the city don't care about our people. This morning when we had this protest in front of the city, the service center, the same arrogant DA mayor didn't even come to collect the memorandum. They sent 3 officials. That is an insult to the working class. That is an insult to the poorest of the poor. So we can't keep quiet while those things is happening. People of Cape Town are bleeding. People of Cape Town are crying about this high electricity tariffs. Why can't they just comply with the NERSA recommendation or decision? Take away all those other tariff charges on top of that, because people can't afford electricity. And we as COSATU saying it's not enough.
Yeah. You make mention of NERSA, and NERSA received a number of complaints, and it was only at that point that they then approached the city of Cape Town. Does this tell us that NERSA did not give consent to that extra 2.5, or can the city just implement it even without the consent of NERSA?
Well, the city did, and I think they did it before. Whatever NERSA put on the table, they will always add an additional percentage. And what they then do, they take that particular proposal to the council, while they know they've got the majority of councillors in council. So they bulldoze every decision through council. All other political parties oppose that decision of the city to do that. NERSA is also unhappy what the city is doing. The city took NERSA to court, and there was a court case recently, and the court have said that matter is not urgent, and the city now has to pay NERSA. What is also sad, the city is using ratepayers' monies to fight the ratepayer. It doesn't make sense. You can't take my money to fight me in court. They have the financial muscle because of ratepayers' monies. And while the same ratepayers are suffering to keep the lights on every day, and even to make food for their families, because they can't afford to use the stoves. They can't even afford to put in the kettle. Because if you buy 10 rands worth of electricity and you put in a kettle for 2 cups of coffee, that 10 rand will be gone. That unit will be gone. So workers are in a serious crisis, the people of the city. elderly people. There's more than one lady that almost cried because she said she can't afford to buy electricity. And she's living on a state grant.
Was there a consultation process that took place before the city decided on this additional tariff?
No, there was no public participation according to us. If there was one, we would have been involved as COSATU. What they do, they just take that issue to the city council and use the majority in council to implement measures that is contrary to what the workers want.
And also, Malvern, I mean, in terms of the collections of the city, 60% of what they collect goes to Eskom. Was the remaining 40% also increased by that 17.4%?
Yes, what we are saying is that they should deal with Eskom through the measures. They can't use the fight with Eskom at the expense of the poorest of the poor in this province and in the city. So the issue that they had with Eskom, they should address it there. What they are doing, they'll rather shift their issues to the working class and to the poorest of the poor to pay for this extra tariffs on the electricity.
So the strike took place today, and as you mentioned that the mayor was not there to receive the memorandum of understanding. Where to from here?
We gave the mayor, we said to those three people, those three officials that we gave the mayor 7 days. By the 2nd of September, the mayor must respond on our demands. After that, we'll have to meet again as the different formations, civil society and political parties. They will have to meet and strategize the way forward if the response is not favorable. As COSATU itself will be having a provincial executive committee meeting in September, where we will give feedback to the executive, and then that executive will decide what the next step should be. And as things stand now, it's quite clear we'll be going to the streets come September or come October, because it's quite clear that we are sitting with a DA that don't care, as arrogant DA city government.
And what was the feeling amongst protesters today? I mean, it was a number of civil society organizations and some residents of the city of Cape Town.
People were angry. I wish one of you guys were there to see the anger, frustration and disgust in those workers, in those people's faces. And what is so sad, the majority of these people are people that were previously DA voters and supporters. And then the same DA want to ask these people next year to vote for them. People were angry. People said, enough is enough. We should go to the next step. And we said to them, the next step will only be determined after we receive the response from the city within 7 days. Failing, if they refuse to respond, then we'll have to go to the streets in our numbers. Because we don't want the DA we don't want them to respond on social media. We want them to respond in writing on all our demands, so that we can make an assessment to determine whether there's a need to go further or not. But it's quite clear this DA don't care. I don't think they will even come to the party in terms of our demands. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt and see what they will respond within 7 days.
Most certainly. Mr. De Bruyn, thank you so much for your time this evening and for joining us. That was COSATU Western Cape Secretary Malvern De Bruyn speaking to us there about the additional tariff increase in terms of electricity tariffs in the city of Cape Town.